right, thanks for clicking on the video and my channel. Today we're going to be doing some DrawImage and the updated V2 DrawImage. So when you open DrawImage, you should be seeing something that looks exactly like this. In the left side, we have an image editor, and in the middle we have the viewport. Upper right, we have the scene collections, the modifier panel below it for the node tree, the shaders that are used in the node, the actual geonode tree next to that, and a text editor with some written literature about the tree. It's worth checking out. But let's dive in so we can get a quick how-to on how to just have fun and enjoy this. I don't really need that right now. We're just going to pull that up. And true to its word, if you just draw, it will draw it. And you can change some colors, you can do that kind of stuff. Oh boy. But you're probably gonna have your own images. So I don't have your images. I've got some images here to test. Let's come up to the first one, which is capture, and doesn't seem like it's tracing much. It's still got this old image here. I've clearly selected this image, so we're going to want to come over here to the image fill and make sure we change that to the same image. And not that it affects the tree, but why not do it over here too? And now we just have all the same image. And again, it's not tracing anything. And if you wanted to trace, let's go to our trace inspector so we can see what's going on. Adjust our alpha clamp. That's going to be your best friend. And right here we have a pretty decent trace. And if I check off my image inspector, we can see we got a good trace. We can click here to invert the trace and come way down here to fill material. And you can just put that and change its color like that. Pretty simple stuff. I'm going to bring it back to image fill. And yeah, it works really good with black and white images. Like this is like a pretty stupid black and white image. And if I come over here, click on it, and then come back over here and click on that, we can see that if I invert it, we've got the characters. And if I come down here, it by default has no stroke checked on. So if we uncheck no stroke, we can see that we have strokes around our shapes, and we can do no fill, no stroke, no fill. This is great. Now, simple stuff works just fine, simple shapes. The more shapes you have to trace, it's going to get a bit complicated. It might break. Let's go over some of those more complicated examples. I'm going to come over here to the DrawImage modifier panel and pick a picture of William Defoe. Now, I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to come over to my just whatever view, check back no stroke, and we can see that we have all these weird broken pieces. And no matter how I choose to trace it, we're getting this weird intersecting breakingness. Doesn't matter if I adjust my color bools, it's still pretty bad. And this is a new feature. If you come down to super resolution and just increase it, you're going to find that those get cleaned up. I'm just going to push it to 10, and we're going to find this is going to take about like maybe a minute, because essentially what's happening is it's taking the resolution of the image and multiplying it. And now that really cleaned everything up. And if I come back over here to my material view, change the image and the material to William Defoe, we now have a clean trace from the image, and we can invert it and give it a second to trace, and boom, William Defoe. All right. But let's say we got something even more complicated. You got copy, you got a really intense logo. Once you push super resolution up, I recommend bringing it back down to 1 before changing your image. And because of what I'm bringing in is pretty intense, I'm going to check on this little inspect trace, and in order to see inspect trace, you need to actually have that checked on your viewport right up here. And so this will just show us the outlines, and we can actually see that if we bump it up, it'll show you before you do a fill how bad it actually is. So let's bring in a logo here, and we're actually trying to trace this logo. Low resolution shot. We're going to get some SVGs. It's going to work. First, I just kind of want to invert. I just sort of want all the white space. And right now, it's looking pretty dire. So let's drop down our resample to 1, and it's looking a lot better. So it's very kind of aliased. We've got this sort of stair-stepping. We can fix that. And we have all of these little broken lines that are going to break our trace. We know how to fix that. Let's just bump this up. Maybe try 4, see what happens. Oh boy, it looks great. All right, so I know this will fill correctly, but I know this is going to take a while to fill. So if you look down here in the node tree, we have a bake node, which is in the fill curve plus inspect curve, and I've broken this up a bit so you can just kind of work through it a little cleaner. But I put that right there just in the get-go because I wanted you to just know where it was. So we can just go ahead and click bake. And now this is going to take a few minutes. And we're back. I'd accidentally clicked bake, and I was wondering why things were taking forever. It's because I had animation checked on. So while we're in inspect trace, if we're just trying to not trace an animation, let's check on still. And then we're going to click bake, and this should take about maybe 6 minutes. So, and you're just going to want to let it do its thing. So mine's done. I have fast forwarded to the future. So if I uncheck inspect trace now, we will see the trace, and I'm just going to fill material with the fill color. And there we go. We got that. Got a nice clean trace of the entire logo. You know, it got a little bit of a wobbliness. If we want to clean that up, make it less wobbly, make it more of a clean smooth, we can resample this. And if you'll notice, that does that. And when I uncheck here, it goes back to normal. That's because the fill is baked. And but if I try and do any changes here, you're not going to see any changes to the fill, but you will see changes in the inspector. So one thing to keep in mind is let's bring the stroke back on. You can reduce stroke thickness right here. And let's make this a little thinner. And we can have the fill with the stroke all together. And I can change the stroke material here. It looks pretty bad. If I set it to 1, it's going to take a little longer to get the stroke. Let me set it to 2, and we get a cleaner outline. So one of the other things that this can do is this can animate up. When I had it checked on animation, if I really let this go, you'd get something that looks kind of like this. This will trace every shape independently. Really complex stuff, lots of independent islands. It's going to take a long time. The more shapes that need to be filled, it's going to take some time. Maybe do it in separate chunks. Maybe do the logo in half or something. Test out your hardware. What are you capable of? But yeah, pretty cool. We can actually just sort of look at that live right now. Let's make this back to 1, resample stroke at 20, and right here with the animation speed, let's set it way lower. Let's put it at like 50, and let's 500 for the end. So now we can watch it trace Squidward. Isn't that fun? And that's just how it traces, and it will do that with the bake as well, and that's how you get rid of the bake. image fill, say you to what that is, and you can slide these around, get all the good mixes you want. If you set it to 1, it is going to clip the alpha. This has an alpha channel. Setting the alpha clamp to 1 gets rid of the alpha channel. Putting it below 1 starts clamping colors. So that's what that's doing. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. I'm just going to end this. It's too long. I'm sorry. Have a great day. Thanks for checking out DrawImagV2. Thanks for watching the walkthrough. Blah, blah, blah.